Hey guys. Actually, I'm gonna turn that down. Hey, sorry about that. My for some reason it's very hot over here, and we had a huge glitch, and it got real heated, and it got yeah, the power tripped like multiple times. I restarted the computer, and then it crashed again, and so we had two glitched out things. So I do want to say sorry about all of that, guys, but we are back. Um, but I am going to invite one of my friends on, and in the meantime, we'll just do that. Actually, new conversation. Miss. Laugh. And I want to add conversation. And Josh. Also add Josh Stone. And Miss. I guess I should do it like this. All right, and all right. So yeah, so we had a little bit of a glitch out. And what do we got? Hey, we got one person. So I guess I'll talk to you for a little bit until Miss Thang shows up. Uh, yeah, no. In the middle of the conversation, out of nowhere, the power just cut, or the generator or the power plant had a trip, and everything turned off. Like both my AC and my computers just turned off, and then it turned back on again, and then it turned off, and then it turned back on again. But I'm back, yes. And for everyone who doesn't know, I was just talking to Ms. Janelle Banks. She'll be back on in a little bit. She had to grab a charger and stuff like that, so I guess it was perfect timing when everything tripped. But right now, I have Joshua Stone with me, or Heartstone, like Hearthstone, but like Heartstone, with heart. Ah, my apologies. White Mexicans.
Too. It just shows ignorance. That's all. But that's all.
No, I got you. My bad. My bad. Native
No, that's
American. By
cool.
the way, I accidentally had you muted. I forgot to raise up the volume on that as well. God,
No,
I'm
no,
just
it's
fucking up
better.
all
It's
day
better.
today.
It's better that way actually. So it's good.
um, but yeah, uh, so yeah, so it's crazy. But we're gonna talk a little bit. He lives in California now,
Yeah, in Los Angeles.
Los Angeles. Yeah, I didn't want to give specifics, but yeah, Well, I mean, it's
It's
a big
cool.
city, so I don't
Yeah, it's a monster city. Yeah.
know. But yeah, he's actually gone to, I believe you said, 3 protests.
Yeah, I sure did.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So he is one of my friends. He is a protester, or at least I consider him one. Considering
Yeah.
he's gone to more protests than I have, although I have silently, of course, as you guys know, been protesting on my platform and yada yada yada. He's actually gone out there and is actually doing something about it. So I wanted to talk to him a little bit about what it's like out there, what it's like now, what his experience has been, and stuff like that. And for those of you who don't know, he is also an amazing bassist and drummer, and that's how actually we met. So
Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate you for having me on.
I know. I wish you were still here because I wanted you to be in one of my bands.
Oh man, I would have loved that.
But getting into it and just jumping straight into it,
Yeah.
how did you get into protesting? Like, how did you actually? Because I know some of these are organized, some of these may have. I don't know how they even started, but like, I want to know how you got into it, how you participated in something like that.
Totally. So, just experience with protesting, man. I was protesting back in 2012 for the Occupy Wall Street movement, and it was a lot more scattered back then. We really didn't have a, clear directive. But fast forward to now, I just kind of went on Facebook and typed in the search bar LA protests, and I saw on Twitter that's how people were finding it too. And yeah, I found one of the groups, and they have like flyers up saying when they're going to get together, what the plan is. And yeah, that's how pretty much I jumped in here in Los Angeles, at least.
So did you just kind of like do you guys just like you just show up and then that's it, or do you have like show up and go talk to someone and they're like this is the game plan? Because like one of my other friends is a protester, but he got like on snack and water duty.
Oh, nice. No, no, yeah. For us, it's just, I guess you can volunteer and go up to them, but we just, you just show up and hang out. I just took my snare drum and just went to, lead some or helped lead some chants, just as like a drummer, and
Mhm.
it was just everybody hanging out, pretty much. Some people were kind of like, "What are we doing?" But there's one guy usually talking and giving a speech about what's going on, what the plan is, and but yeah, I'm sure you could be a snack and water guy. It's like a mage, a support mage.
We're gonna get in D&D terms here. Uh, so has much has changed since like now versus like how it has been or how it's been going.
Oh yeah, man. Me and my girlfriend went out to that one of the first protests here in LA. It
Hmm.
was like in the Fairfax district, and they set a police car on fire. A couple dumpsters got on. We were there while they were setting those dumpsters on fire.
Oh
It
my
was
goodness.
epic. Yeah, it was epic, and they started shooting the little tear gas or the pepper balls or whatever they want to call them, and trying to disperse the crowd. And it was just everybody was just getting really rowdy. We were just the tension was at a head at that point, and they did start like kind of marching towards us, the cops, to disperse us, and we left a little earlier that time. But later on, I waited a day because I was sore. Went to the next protest, and this one was downtown. It
Hmm.
was nothing but peaceful, so peaceful, and they were enforcing a curfew at a certain time, like at 7 or 6. And we decided to stay past the curfew because we were peacefully protesting. There was no need for anything. They ended up kettling us and catching us on a block and arresting us and sending us 20 miles away to a different town. It's called San Pedro.
Damn.
And then they just like let us loose there. Okay, go home. I'm like, well, you took us 20 miles from downtown. How are we gonna get home? Everybody had to call their rides. Thankfully, I wasn't with my girlfriend at that point, so she came and got me. And then I went to the last protest, this newest one, and it seemed more like a party. Like everybody was hanging out. We were still fighting, but we were together, and it was like a big family. It was super fucking cool. As opposed to the other one, the first one, it was a little bit more anger. It's just we kind of softened up over time, and it became really peaceful over like you get the picture.
Yeah, where it's like it started off with it's kind of and I feel like that's what it kind of reflected a
Yeah,
lot of how the maturity of how people have been feeling where initially it was just grieve and anger and you didn't know what to do or how to act so you just lashed
yeah,
out and then
yeah,
the second protest was like you guys calm down and now it's become more like well we're here we understand like we're past the anger and grieving and now we're in the forefront of the message of the ideal and what's going on.
exactly, totally, man. You hit the nail on the head. Yeah, we know what we're trying to do now, and social, fix the system. It's just not right.
Yeah. And then yeah, no, it's that's crazy. So how do you feel like the media has been reflecting on a lot of because I've seen a little bit of the media. I've seen like so my media consumption has been just what's at work like Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, but it's also been everything on Twitter, everything on
Yeah,
Instagram, all of the unicorn riots, like and other outlets like AG Plus and other media outlets have been portraying what has going down with you, and how is your experience versus how the media is still portraying it?
I mean, that first protest was pretty wild, and it got covered pretty. I mean, I don't really watch the news either, and I mean, I see things on Twitter, and that's about it for my news consumption. Things on Google News and stuff like that, and they did call us looters a lot of the times, but there's a very minuscule amount of people who were looting, and that was only in, I think, Santa Monica, which is way down, far away. And downtown LA did have some looting,
Mm-hmm.
but it was, I don't know, man. It was just like a few people. It seemed kind of like, sometimes it seemed like undercover cops. I've seen other videos too.
Yeah.
But the media definitely wants some people to be militarized against protesters. And it seems like a narrative for sure. And but I mean, like I said, we were peaceful on the one night where we all got arrested. It was maybe like 200 of us that got arrested and were detained, and we all got put in that paddy wagon and sent away. But we didn't break anything. We didn't do a damn thing. And the news was there. And later on, when we got out, it was like 1 or 2 in the morning, and some girl was looking at her phone. She goes, "Look, it's us. It says looters. Ah, damn!" And it's like, dude, that sucks, man. We literally like went out of our way to stay super peaceful, and they kept trying to provoke us. The cops, they lined up all up and down. You can't go past them. Of course, you're gonna start to freak out, and you're trapped. I get it's a psychological game, kind of. It felt like, at least.
That's yeah, no. I mean, and from like a lot of my friends here, and I never want to say any names and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I also want to just let you know these are my friends. These are people you can follow and support, or if you want more information. But like some of my friends have been arrested, some of my friends have been shot, some of my friends have been, where they were detained for, I think it was overnight, or it was for 6 hours, or it was, where they didn't do anything, where they were literally, the protest was over and they were driving home and they got caught by police officers who were sitting and waiting for the protesters to leave, and they all got arrested. And it was just kind of like, why are you you're arresting them as they're leaving the protest? Like,
Yeah.
what the hell? They weren't doing anything wrong. They were just driving home.
Yeah.
Like, you can't.
Who are you protecting at that point? Who are they really protecting? It's like, yeah, you're just kind of.
You're kind of lying in wait.
Yeah.
And I wanted to go into the conversation I was having previously in the last stream. I had to restart the stream, obviously, because everything crashed and shut down.
Yeah.
But I want to go into something like that I was getting to in the last stream when I was talking, was the simple fact that it is just shit. I lost my train of thought now that I was thinking about. I was thinking about like so much of like all the chaos and stuff like that. But it's the fuck. I'm gonna move past it because now I can't even think. I'm just in awe about all this. Oh yeah, it was. I'm shocked in the fact where it's one of the things I like to say, and one of the things I have been saying is like, it's what happened to serving and protecting. It's serve and protect, not seek and destroy. And I feel like the police have lost sight of that. I feel like it's become less about serving the people and protecting the people, and it's seeking out the people, the establishments, and destroying whatever's in front of them. And we can see that more clear than ever when they bring out militarized tanks, guns, weapons, and things of that nature.
Man, and that was so I mean, that's going to provoke you. You see these military guys, not even provoke you, but it's provocative. That's the right way to use that word.
Yeah.
It's just a little,
It's gonna freak you out a little bit. It's gonna make you. It's gonna put you on the defensive. Like, think about it this way: if they were just police officers with no weapons, no nothing, they were just there existing in uniform without any guns, without any of that stuff like that. Maybe a pepper spray or a baton, but like they were just there without any of the militarized weapons. Like, you would probably feel like, yeah, this is still a little intimidating, but not as intimidating as a fucking tank, as a fucking. Yeah.
Yeah. Jeez, man. Yeah, with the automatic rifles too. Just at hand, ready to go.
Yeah, that's insane. That blows my mind in a sense.
Yeah, it's fucking wild. But
so I got like, how are you guys? Because I know a lot of people are saying COVID. Well, I guess COVID's gone. COVID's not gone, for the record. I want to let everyone know this. I just want to say that I think the protests are a little bit more important than COVID. They are
Right.
definitely more important than the protests that were happening prior to this, where it was just a bunch of white people wanting haircuts. This is something a lot more important. But I also want to say this real quick. I know there are websites dedicated to, and there are people out there putting out information to protect yourself. If you're sick, stay home. I understand you guys are going about this a safe way, but how are you what is it like actually out there? How are you guys protecting yourselves when you're actually out there protesting against COVID, against stuff like this?
What's really cool, Justice, you said earlier, man, how somebody got kind of recruited to hand out waters and chips or snacks or whatever.
Yeah.
There's actually a mask person out there too. So if there's somebody who doesn't have a mask, they're like, "Hey, man, you need a mask? It's free." And they're just giving away masks at like surgical, the blue with the
Yeah.
strings. It's pretty legit. And other than that, some people are doubling up on their masks. They wear like the tight one on the inside, and they wear like a hanky on the outside, the old kind of
Hmm.
bandit handkerchief on the outside. And everybody seems like they're gloved up. People are handing out sanitizer all the time. Um,
So it's
so I
like,
mean, it seems like we and I mean, I was out there with a bunch of people. It's been a few days now. I haven't gotten sick. Maybe I'm asymptomatic, but I hope not. But it seems like everybody's pretty healthy and stuff. So
yeah.
it seemed like it was not bad. I'm sure that if you're sick, they don't encourage you to go protest. I hope, but
No, no, they've been encouraging people who are sick to stay home and
even though
to
they
help
might
out
not
in other
want to,
ways.
you got to. Yeah, exactly.
And that's one of the things that I always try to tell people who are like who say like, well, I guess COVID's gone, so I guess we can just do whatever. It's like, no, no, no. Like, just like how essential workers, like how we have to like go to work, I have to wear gloves, sanitize, wash hands after every single thing,
Yeah.
like put a mask and stuff like that. I feel like protesters are in themselves essential workers, where they are going about it safely. They're still following procedure, but they are out there protesting and fighting for something that is just and right. So it's not that COVID's gone or that we're distracted with the protests to ignore COVID, but it's more of a, because I've seen that. I've seen people try to say that, and it's like, no, it's not that COVID went away. It's not that we're blind to what's going on. It's that we see something that is fundamentally unjust and wrong,
Yeah.
and
There's an
so we are going
emergency.
to fight for that, but we're still going to do it in the most safe way possible.
Absolutely. And even in the protests, it seems like a lot of people we're keeping kind of social distance in our between our little groups. So there was always 6 feet around me. That way I could wave my drumsticks when I was hitting my little snare drum.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed that too. I did freak out a little bit when my throat started getting scratchy, but I realized it was from all the screaming and, all the chanting.
Yeah, when you exhaust your voice, you get a little dry. That's why I have water. Well, I don't have water on me right now, but that's why I have water normally when I stream.
Yeah, and
Uh,
everybody was handing out waters at the protest. Everybody's so friendly, man. It's amazing. It's like, "Hey, man, are you okay? I can hear your voice cracking. Do you need some water?" I'm like, "Oh, dude, that'd be great." It's a good environment, man. It's crazy.
that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
So, and just real quick, so I wanted to ask. I was hoping that she'd come back, but I think she had to find her charger or whatnot. But
Yeah.
I'll ask you this question: and like, how are you combating, like, online media? Like, are you combating online media? Have you just quit online media altogether, and you're just like, I'm focused on the protest. I'm focusing on doing active change versus going online and doing paying attention to what other like they do their thing, but you're gonna do your own thing.
Man, I wanted to just quit social media, really, but it seems like it's kind of, and I hate to say necessary, but it is, it's a good kind of venue and thing to use. It's a good way to connect with other people, like the protests. So I had to stay on Facebook so I could find the LA protests and where they're at. And I like Twitter because you can type in a hashtag and see everything around you that's going on. You type in Los Angeles protests or Dallas protests, and you see everything that's going on in that little area for that in a few hours. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a really good thing to have, but it is kind of detrimental to our mental health. Of course, makes you want to keep up if you don't have enough followers, if you're kind of like that. But
Yeah,
what I,
I
what
don't
I,
I don't think that nothing should be done for clout. I've been
yeah,
active
no way.
of saying that if you're protesting and the only reason you're protesting is because you'll get followers and you're going to drop this as soon as it stops. It's like, don't. Do
Oh
this
man,
because it's the right thing to do.
yeah.
Continue protesting, continue being a voice on your platform, wherever it's at, even after this dies down, because we honestly can't let
Yes.
it die down.
No, it's not going to. I think it's hitting a boiling point, and it's gonna overflow soon, which is good. We just all gotta keep our foot on the gas pedal.
Yeah.
But I like using Twitter, and what I found more is instead of just going out to protest, I've decided to actually not. I mean, not just be silent on Twitter. If I see somebody trying to spread some misinformation, I'll generally go up, and try to have a conversation with that person,
Mm-hmm.
and via Twitter, and it's just like tweets back and forth, and I always keep a cool head. You can check my Twitter too. I always keep a cool head on all my
You're like, hey,
replies.
I have the receipts. I have the receipts.
Yeah, exactly, man. I cite my sources, and then I get blocked by the person. It's usually like somebody who won't accept facts and information, and that's all we're using here. Because you can't deny the facts.
I like
And
you, dude.
so,
You're such a peaceful dude, my man. You're
yeah,
like even
likewise.
your voice is just so calm and relaxed. It's like no matter what.
That's funny. But I mean, I try. I'm trying to keep cool. Because I get my heart starts to beat so fast when I see some of those comments or some ignorant stuff on Twitter, and I'm like, oh, dude, you don't know what you're talking about. So, an example: one guy was like, "Why do we have to defund the police in Los Angeles if all of this atrocity happened in Minneapolis?" And so I said, well, you can type that. I was joking, but I kind of like to be a little bit of a snarky bastard.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, well, you can type that into Google. It'll give you an answer. And it's true as well. So another person in LA who's more on the right side of things, or right wing side of things,
Mm-hmm.
and she's like, well, that's a real educated response. Like she kind of said something kind of alluding to me being dumb. And so I just literally went to Google, copy and pasted that dude's tweet, into Google, and I found a Reuters article,
Mm-hmm.
and it says exactly why we have to defund the police. So it turns out 25% of LA's Los Angeles County, 25% of our budget, more than 25, it's 25.7, is allocated to law enforcement and police. So that means prisons, cops, overtime for cops, cop cars and their air conditioning running all the time, and they're just leaving their engine on, letting the AC run. Meals for them, shoes for them, belts and clothes. And that's not, I mean, that could be going to children. That could be going to parks and recreation. That could be going to elementary schools. That could be going to teachers. And so that's what we've been trying to say. And that's actually Mayor Garcetti here. He's actually putting something through, I believe, where they're gonna take a look at that again,
Mm-hmm.
and they're gonna defund a good amount of the police expenditure. So yeah, it's cool. It worked. It was pretty sweet.
I mean, yeah, and also like one of the things I've noticed about social media, like I've kind of distanced myself from Facebook. Like I go
Yeah.
on there rarely, like when I have to like talk to my D&D group. I've been trying to wean them onto Discord. But like Twitter and Instagram have been great resources for me of information, of things to like try to research in Google. It's where I was able to find a lot of the links that will show up within the chat of like things like where to petition. Like there's a lot of petitions. And honestly, through all of the petitions, it took me 2 minutes, 15 seconds per petition to just sign and
Yeah.
share, or sign and don't. It doesn't take much time at all. They make it very easy on us. 15 seconds of your time per petition. It's not bad. 2 minutes total. There's a lot of petitions, but like it's it doesn't take much time. It really doesn't. And then there's also like that's where I found resources to where to call, who to email. Like this is just how I've been active, but the, it's amazing how easy this movement has made it for people who where they really say you don't have an excuse anymore. Like I believe the bearded black drag queen, her Instagram, she just posted. She's all like, "Hey, you don't have an excuse anymore. It's willful ignorance at this point. Like, you are 100% to allowed to have whatever opinion you have on this movement or whatever, but just know that if you disenfranchise, if you are against Black Lives Matter, if you are against this thing, you have made your voice heard, and you have willfully ignored the blight that is staining America right now. And
Yep.
this is your mark on history, and this is where it's just at now.
True, man. You're on one side of history or not, or you gotta. We're moving forward.
Yeah, we're moving forward. We're actively making change. Recognizing it is not enough at this point. You have to move forward. You have to say, I not only do I recognize it, I am listening, I am understanding, and I am going to do my part in making sure change happens.
It's up to all of us. Yeah, exactly. And like you said, man, it doesn't take a lot of time at all. 2 minutes at least to show that's minute amount of support. And it is a lot of support actually, but 2 minutes of time for a human, it's not a lot. Real quick, you know,
Yeah.
it's
Uh,
crazy, man.
I'm gonna ask this question, and then we're gonna get into the really really heavy shit. But like, well, no, because like, I mean, it is because it's gonna get we're gonna get into like the nuance, the controversial stuff, because it does get controversial. The nuance does get a little bit messy, especially when you see the tactics that are going to be outplayed. But I also want to reel it back and say like yeah, I know this is going. I never want to make this about other issues when we're so focused on one issue, but I
Yeah,
do want to make it about issues that are in tandem or tangible to this issue. One of those issues is mental health and the mental strain that it puts on people. I know there are some donations and stuff like that. I see them in the chat where like my I have a little bot that's posting links, but one of them is for mental health and where to get help, because like it is a very traumatic, like you were saying, with the police, military. It fucks with your psychology. It fucks with your mind. Getting tear gas, getting shot, all these things.
yeah.
Mental health is a huge thing, and I just want to know, like, just you personally, because I know you can't speak for other people, and I know there are resources out there, but I want to speak for you. How are you handling this state of mind mentally? Is it just kind of like you're just power willed, you recognize what's bothering you and you ignore it, or have you seeked out other entertainment? Have you seeked out help? Are you doing therapy? Like, how are you handling the mental trauma that has been going on?
Dude, you're the only person who's asked me that. Thank you so much. Nobody really. I appreciate that, man. It makes me feel a lot better, actually. That's nice. No, because I mean, we're all going through some shit. We're all going through a lot right now with coronavirus starting the year, and then this is fucking all of our psyche up, and then we go out to make our voices heard, and we get roughed up by the cops, and it doesn't help. And then it's just it is crazy. It's rocked me for sure. It's something I'm never gonna forget. But I feel like I've always kind of been a fighter, and I've always been kind of kicked when I'm down. And I've always been kind of an underdog, and so I feel like this is almost normal. You know, the fight. It's like some Les Miserables kind of shit,
Yeah,
and
no.
so there's gonna the only I can't afford any therapy, and I can't afford any of these things, and I know there's free resources, but I feel like I'd be draining on somebody who might really need it a lot more than me,
Mhm.
because I can kind of see in the future, a year or two from now, maybe three, I can see that things will get better, and things will get better, and so I just keep even if it's not true, I keep telling myself that, so that way, at least I can keep fighting, keep waking up, you know, keep eating, keep writing music. And I started writing more music too. Like everybody's, since there's no work for a lot of people, for a lot of us, everybody's taken to creative outlets,
Yeah.
and indulging in more, consuming more media as well. Watching streams and freaking watching different series on different platforms, and
Mhm.
there's a lot of media out there now too, and smaller people too that have like 1,000 views or 200 listens. It's kind of cool to see these people who are around us in the area. But yeah, that's what I've been doing, man. Just playing more music, and just I'm glad that the protests are happening, so I can go out, and I don't feel so alone anymore too. I know I'm not the only one that thinks this is crazy. I used to feel like I was the only one who thought these atrocities were horrible and should be stopped. And now I go out there and I see all these other people. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not alone. So it does kind of it eases my any sense of depression I might have had before. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm glad. Like, mental health is a huge issue for me. Like, as a person who goes through it, and as a person who has a lot of followers who go through it, I always want to have that community that builds, like just a foundation of support and love. And I always I'm glad that I shouldn't be the only one who asks you that. I shouldn't be the only one who asks anybody how they're doing. That should be a common thing. But I'm glad that, like, you are well managed and you're at least taking care of yourself in some way.
Yeah.
And I'll just know that if you ever need someone to talk to, whatever, I know it's not therapy, but I am always here and stuff like that. My community is always here.
Thanks,
Um,
dude.
I genuinely mean that, because I'm like, holy shit, I'm the first person to ask you that. That doesn't sound right. um, but the other thing I want to, and I just want to say hi, Ivy. Um, Sorry, someone came in and just giving love and support. Uh,
Always.
but I wanted to ask you, like, because you said you're Native American, right? And like me personally, I am Mexican mutt. I say Mexican mutt because my family's from different types of backgrounds, and we all spanned. And I am like one of the few that, like, if I get in the sun for too long, I end up turning really dark. Um, but like and my like it's crazy, like, just what's going on. And I'll get into the family dynamics and the ethnic dynamics of what we have to fight with. But I wanted to ask you, I don't know if you've experienced any racial prejudice. I don't know if, because for me, it's like it was a sudden awakening, and I was talking about this with Janelle. It was an awakening of realizing how much of my life I considered normal wasn't normal. How much of how I was treated was racial profiling, or was because of the way I looked or the color of my skin. And I didn't think of it that way because I never actually had to think about that. Like, why would you? Like, when growing
Right.
up, like, when you consider it so normal, why would you think about the color of your skin is how you are treated, or like, it, like, not based off your actions, but based off just you existing. Um, I don't know if you've experienced anything like that. Um, but I just wanted to ask and see if you had any stories or anything that you would want to share.
Um, yeah, man. I mean, in Texas, I was always, oh, when I was living in San Antonio, Texas,
Uh,
first like 27 years of my life, I was always messed with. The cops always pulled me over, gave me a hard time, you know, just messed around with me. Sometimes I would get away. Other times I got in trouble for having weed or for running a stop sign, or maybe even not even fully running a stop sign, just not stopping enough, just things that aren't exactly right. And as soon as I moved to California, I still had the kind of like afraid mentality. I'm so afraid of the cops. Oh God, they're gonna give me a ticket. Oh God, I didn't put my blinker on early enough. Oh God, oh God. And when I got here, no, I'd never gotten messed with by the cops up until the protest days. I blatantly would do a California stop, as they say. Kind of just pausing in and keep going, or taking a right turn and not even stopping. Just okay, there's a stop sign. It's a yield. Boom, just taking it. The cops would like see me do that here in Los Angeles, and they're fine. They're like, oh, we got bigger fish to fry. Fuck that. And so it was refreshing, But thinking back to Texas, it was so militaristic, and they'd bring in 3 or 4 cops for me running or, taking a right on red
mm-hmm.
without stopping. We need backup. I'm like, what the hell you need backup for? Like, what's going on? And
Yeah.
it's just these bunch of good old boys, bunch of honkies kind of like messing with me, standing around me, being intimidating. And it's not good. You should not feel afraid of the cops. Like, that's weird. They're there, like you said earlier, they're there to protect and serve, not to seek and destroy. That was good. I'm gonna use that from you, man.
You gonna steal that? Yeah.
Oh
No,
man,
feel
yeah.
free. That's why I posted it on Twitter. I was just like I thought about it, and I'm just all like, but no, but
Yeah, it's a good one.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just strange because, like, Because like I'm thinking, the more I have these conversations, the more I talk about this, the more I have to reflect on my own life. And that sounds a little egotistical, but I feel like that's just a very human thing. That's a thing we all do. Is like when we face something, we have to think about, oh God, is this what this means? Is this what that means? Is this how my family? This is why my family says this. Is this why my family says that? You know, you reflect, and I always think reflection is good. And it's just like one of those things where you're just like, holy shit, what the hell is going on? And it was weird because like there's a couple instances. I already talked about when I was 10 years old, but there's two there's more instances, but there's two in particular that I want to share. No, don't get me wrong. I've been pulled over a lot of times for doing absolutely fucking nothing.
Yeah.
And for the Dr. Lobster, just know that there are a lot of petitions. I'm glad that you're donating. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. All of that. Campaign Zero is really good. Black Lives Matter. Like a lot of this is informational, but a lot of these are donational. And others are just petitions you can sign that take no less than 15 seconds per petition. There's a lot of petitions out there, and I know there's more and more coming as more and more voices are starting to speak up. So yeah, and I appreciate you so much. Thank you very much. But going back into there's one time where I was leaving, and you know this because you lived in San Antonio, so you know which bar I'm talking about. But like Bentley's or like the Hangar.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I was leaving there at 2 a.m. Right? I just had a few drinks with some friends. I wanted to get home. I literally had 2 drinks throughout the whole entire night I was there because I wasn't trash. I wasn't any of this or whatever, right? I was just like having a few drinks with friends, and I was just going to leave. Don't drink and drive, and if you do drink, give it 2 hours and then go ahead and drive. Just for anyone out there, basic information, make sure you are okay to drive before you leave a bar.
Lots of water.
Lots of water. Cranberry juice, something to hydrate you and keep you well. But, doing nothing. I was driving back home. I was driving through Alamo Heights to get back home. This was back in 2016. I had just moved to Texas. I had just got my own house here. And I was driving towards downtown because that's where I lived at the time.
Yeah.
And a car was following me from the bar all the way down through Alamo Heights. And its lights were off. It was completely pitch black. And I saw the shape of a car. I didn't even see any headlights. Its lights weren't on. There was no lights it freaked me out because I was turning, I was going down, and it was following me. At every stop sign, at every single stop light, it was following me. And it freaked me the fuck out that this car had no lights. I didn't know if maybe I had the wrong person, or I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So I start freaking out, right? So I'm driving, and I drive through an intersection as it was yellow turning red, and I just drove through it because I'm all like, if he stops at the stoplight, then I know it's just me being paranoid.
Right.
Sure enough, it was a cop. And its lights go right off and pulls me right over.
God damn it.
And I pull over. Officer's like, hey, da-da-da-da-da-da. Grabs flashlights, starts looking through my windows, starts looking at me. I still have my beard. This was before I shaved and stuff like that. I still have my beard. I look like a terrorist. I hate to say it. And I don't ever want to think that this is the image of a terrorist, but let's be real here. Let's be real here. I do not look like a friendly face to a cop.
I relate, man. I know what you mean.
So I was just very polite. I was just like, hey, listen, I came here from California. I was just like da 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 da. I still had my California license on me, and I was just like, listen, I don't know, like I'm from San Antonio, but I was just like, I don't know the customs here. I am just a California person. And he's all like, well, da 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 da. Here's the resources, and here's your, and he let me off with I think it was a ticket or whatever. And I remember talking to one of my friends who is a lawyer, and she's all like, no, that's not right. And she's black, she's Blaxican or African American and Mexican and stuff like that. And she's like, that's not right. You need to fight the court. Me being a person who's like, I don't know if that's the right thing to do. I don't want to be thrown in jail. Because I had that fear. And I never thought about that fear. I just thought that's just,
a
but
normal
it's like,
thing.
Yeah. But like it was just one of those things where it was just like, I didn't, like, you don't think about, like, why was this guy following me? Like, why did he excessively follow me for 2 miles? For no fucking reason. With his lights and everything off. How sketchy is that to be? Like, at least have headlights on. At least let me know I am in the presence of something. Even if I am going to do something wrong. Like, if you made your presence known without fucking pulling me, without freaking me out, odds are I wouldn't have, like, ran. I wouldn't have freaked out as much as I did if I had just known you weren't trying. Like, that was obviously a scare, freak me out tactic. And
yeah, a lot of their tactics are still horrible, man. Ugh, especially that.
Like, they just put you in a corner. And then going back into it, I was driving one of my friends to Laredo and back. And my followers know this, but they don't know what happened when the camera was turned off. So I was live streaming my friend. A lot of you guys know Mexican Ginger and all that stuff like that. We were driving down to Laredo. We made a stream about it. We go through border security. I drop her off because she had to get her car broke down or something. We had to get it fixed or something like that. And I drove back to San Antonio. No joke. I was in the fast lane trying to merge over. I realized that the car next to me wasn't going to let me merge over, so I go up behind him. This cop car is following me, but I figured it's state patrol. They are just going back and forth, whatever. They're just on the road just like I am, right? I'm not thinking about it. I'm just thinking they're doing their normal thing. Pulls me over. I didn't know it was me. I didn't know they were pulling me over. I thought maybe something was going on. And no, car in front of me, car behind me, they're pulling me over. I get the message. Got it. Pull over. Come after me. They're like, hey, we noticed you were at the border. I'm like, all right, cool. I showed my ID. I did everything at the border. I showed my ID. I told them my purpose. They had the dogs. All that stuff. I already went through the process. So like I'm like, yeah. He's all like, you smuggling any illegal drugs? Are you like part of the? I'm like, what the fuck? No. Like I'm not part of any fucking gang or cartel or anything like that. I was literally. They're like, well, what was your purpose for driving to Laredo? Just dropping off a friend, sir. They're like, okay. And what do you? I'm like, well, I'm trying to get back to work because I have to, I have to go to work in San Antonio. And so I give him my license plates, I give him my insurance, and I'm held there. And I'm all like, can I call my work to let them know I'm not going to be on time? Da 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 da. Like, can I call my? Because I had a dentist appointment, I had work, I had a lot of appointments there, and I had to call them and let them know I was going to be late. And it was just because I was held up, and it was just these state troopers were just like keeping me there. And I'm like, listen, I'm not trying to resist. I'm not trying to do anything like that. I'm just wondering why. And he's all like, well, sir, we just want you to know that like we're like pulling people over. You were on the lane. Do you know how long you were in the fast lane for? And I'm like, no, sir. I was just trying to merge, and I couldn't merge, so I went right behind him. He's like, well, you were in there for half a mile. And I'm all like, okay, so I was driving in the fast lane for half a mile.
Is that a crime? Jeez, come on.
And yeah, that's a crime. And I was just trying to pass a truck because rigs are huge, man, and I get scared. I have a fear of a rig just swerving and hitting me, so I always try to get past them. Or I try to stay as far away behind them because I'm afraid that the rig wind is just going to smack me. I don't like being near rigs. So, and for those of you who don't know, or those of you who are in other countries, a rig is basically like an 18-wheeler truck. It's those big giant trucks that carry like flammable gasoline, or they carry all of those like bricks or some type of industrial material, and they're really huge, they're really big, they're the big giant trucks that you see driving up and down,
Yeah, those things are scary.
Those
They
things
make
are
a big
scary, especially when you
gust behind
realize
them
like
too.
they one full mistake and you can just get run over by them.
Yeah. Oof.
Oh yeah, wish I told everybody that we were gonna talk real shit today. I told you everyone today is the day we talk real shit. Um, but yeah, but no, it was a little fearful, and even like recently since I've gone back to work, cops have been so much more vigilant because I went back to work like literally a day or two before the protests happened and everything blew up. And yeah, I know, talk about bad timing.
Man,
Um,
yeah.
but like it is it's insane because I literally felt feared. I literally had a panic attack last night because I drove by a cop and I was only going 40 miles an hour onto an on ramp that I was supposed to be going 65 miles an hour, and I saw a cop and literally my heart just beat so fast because I was afraid, and I'm still afraid I'm gonna get pulled over just for driving.
Yep. I hate that feeling. That PTSD
And
crap.
it's like
Yeah.
I have that every single time I see a cop, I freak out. But I always try to remain calm, and I like check. I become hyper aware, and I'm like, I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not speeding. I'm not this. I'm not that. If something happens, I know what to say. I have my insurance. I have my license. I have all of this stuff. It's like that literally is what happens when it goes through my mind when I drive, and cops have been even more vigilant on the highways and on the streets, and especially in my area.
Yeah.
And I am lucky that I know some of them. I'm lucky that I have family members, but I don't know all of them. And they don't know me. And
Yeah,
that's
man.
scary.
It's a wild thing, and the assumption that, you know, we're criminals up until they disprove we're criminals. That's kind of like the vibe that they're giving. You know, like they pull you over, and it's like, what? Okay, you know why I pulled you over? It's like, what the hell? What?
No, I
No,
don't know why
you
you
should
pulled
just
me
tell
over.
me.
I
Yeah,
was
I was hyper aware and afraid, and now I'm shaking, and now I look suspicious because I'm shaking because you make me nervous, and you have your hand on your gun. Like, what the hell? It's like, yeah, it's not right, man. They're supposed to protect, like I keep saying.
yeah.
It's just nuts.
For
It's not a good
everyone
vibe.
who
The tactics are wrong. Oh, go ahead, sorry, man.
Oh, no, no, go ahead, continue.
No, it's just the tactics are all wrong. You know, just how everything's going. Serious talk. Serious talk. Real
Yeah.
talk.
No, no, you're good. I just wanted to point out because a lot more people have joined, and I just want to let you guys know that hey, it would really help. I've put more links that are more than just donations. A lot of these you can sign up the petitions. It takes 15 seconds, no matter where you are. There are resources for people who live in other countries that are not the United States to help out in their local area, but also at the same time to assist. We are trying to get the UN on our side. We're trying to let them know that this has become a more than a civil issue, and it's become really, 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 really important that we have the UN stopping like our president from using military tactics, that we stop this injustice of innocent lives being killed, because it's become more than just like about the individuals that are being killed. Protesters are now being shot and killed and injured. Innocent bystanders are now being shot and killed just for existing, just for being in a place where they maybe wanted to shop, and now they get shot in the eye by a rubber bullet.
Oh my God. Yeah. Jeez, those visuals are horrible, man. Ugh.
Yeah, the petitions take no more than like 15 seconds, and yeah, no, it's just it's insane. Also, I've left a whole bunch of resources in case you don't know what's going on, you don't know where to start, or maybe you just want to be more informed and more educated. There are resources that I have left. Look for the stay informed ones and stuff like that. You can click, you can read, you can learn, you can grow, and you can learn how to effectively create change within your local country, county, state, wherever you are within your local government. We want to make everyone's voices heard. This is like, yeah, this is an American issue, but I feel like this is a worldwide issue. I feel like racism is not exclusive to America. It's just been blown up in America right now. It is all over the world. Hello?
Yeah.
No, I know it. That was a lot. That was a lot of information. There was a lot of stuff. Did
That's good
not
that
know
you're
that.
putting it out there, man. Thanks for doing that, dude. That's that's got to be done as well.
No, of course. I've been doing this for a while. I've just added more and more resources as more and more resources have been coming out, have been shared. Some of them have just started recently, like Campaign Zero's 8 Can Wait initiative.
Huh?
Literally just started like a few days ago. Like they literally just created that organization. So there are some. It's just the amount of information, the amount of websites, the amount of resources, and
Yeah.
I said this before, but like it is impossible to become complacent now. It has now become willful ignorance because
Yep.
we've made it so easy. Everyone's making it so easy to just jump in and join and to have this conversation, and we're making it so easy, so quick, so efficient that we're not wasting your time. 15 seconds is not a lot of time. You know, we're asking for 15 seconds of your time. It's not a lot. So I feel like we're making it easy. It's got to be more than just being non-racist. It's got to be active action.
Anti racism
It's
too. Yeah.
anti-racism. You got to be anti-racist. You got to like, but yeah, but and the thing is like I just like it dawned on me where I was just like activism. It's the act of going against something unjust. It's literally act is in the name of activism. You have to be an activist at this point. But yeah, uh, going back into it, and I think one of my friends, I don't think she's going to be able to come back, so I guess I'll ask you this question. I wanted to ask her this question as well. Um, oops, my bad. I'm going to actually go ahead and message her and see if she can come back on.
Yeah. The more the merrier.
Um, but it is just one of those things where it's like it it's intense. It's serious, and it can't be ignored. I've been the proponent, and I've been talking, and I urge everyone else to talk to creators and people that you watch who haven't spoken up to speak up. Some of the people, Jeremy Johns, Giguk, those people I've reached out to, and I've been trying and waiting to see, because I know they're like I like to believe they're not racist, and for some reason I want to say I know they're not racist because of the people they've had on, because of the way they're, but I haven't seen them speak out about it yet. And I really would like to. I would like people to make it their platform, because I know escapism is important, and I understand financial troubles and all that stuff, but I think it's more important to make active change, and I just want to see them actively, just openly say, "Hey, this is wrong." Because it seems like they've been on the safe side, because I think they're afraid their audience might be more conservative than they like to admit.
Yeah.
And I get that, but they have to be vocal. I think it's I understand, but like you have to go, instead of saying like I see what's going on and just know I support you, is not enough, and that's way too vague at this point. It's got to be like, I stand with Black Lives Matter. I actively have donated, or I have actively signed these petitions, and I'm sharing these information and resources. I will, like, you could still make your content, but at this point where everything is so easy to do, there's no excuse to not share, to not support. It's just becoming that.
If not protesting, then at least show support on your social media. I mean, the best is to do it in real life. When
Yeah.
you see racism in person, you put that shit down. Tell people that's not welcome.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you can't do that, then at least, like you said, man, 15 seconds or something, 2 minutes or whatever. Yeah.
Just be active. Just literally let me know that you are someone who stands for injustice. Like, I've seen so many of creators that I love and care about actually go out of their way to say, hey, we're donating this, we're doing this, we're being active, we're going to stop our content. Some have stopped their content, some are continuing with their content, but are actively making donations and doing stuff like that. Like, and that's so beautiful, and that's the right way to do it. It's just, at this point, there is no excuse. You have to make your voices heard. Because if you don't, if you remain silent, your silence speaks volumes.
Facts.
I agree, Wish. Yeah, no. The enlightened centrist, the person that says both sides are wrong, is just no. You can't do that anymore. This is not a both sides are wrong. This is not a this or that. This is strictly speaking. This is not a political issue. I can't stress that enough. I'm tired of everything being politicized. It's not a political issue. It's a human rights issue. It's a humane issue. It is just an ethics, just being a decent human being. That's what this is. Just like, and I'm not surprised because people try to politicize COVID-19, which was a science issue, which was a health issue. Yet somehow it's being politicized as a political issue, as oh, you're a liberal if you believe this, and you're a Republican if you believe this. It's like, no, this is not a Democratic, Republican, liberal, conservative, moderate, whatever. This is just basic human decency at this point.
That's 100% right, man. That's how I've been looking at it too. That's funny.
So, I don't know. I want everyone to try and use their platform to try and speak out, educate, talk to your families, do things behind the scenes. When this all blows over, I want you to still reach out with your voices, still have these conversations, change your behaviors, change your mindset, change the way you think and act about certain things, and to just grow. And then lastly, I guess, I'm going to get into this. It's going to be very, very touchy. But it's about black Trump supporters and black people trying to discredit these Black Lives Matters and these protests, and black evangelists, or people who are like extremely religious into their Christian or Catholic beliefs, trying to say that this is an enactment of God and that black people deserve to be punished for their sins. This has been something I've personally had to fight against and deal with within my own family, with my aunt and my mother and my brother.
Yeah.
And people who I followed and thought were like loving and caring people who I know claim they're not racist, but then share rhetoric like this, and they share it and they're like, look, I shared this black person who is justifying Trump, justifying white people, and saying that protesters and Black Lives Matter is an evil organization. And it's like, no.
Yeah, it's wild.
I don't know if you've come across this. I don't know if you're on Twitter. I would like to show you what I'm talking about.
I've seen it a few times on Twitter. It's definitely, a smaller group, but man, the voice of that group is
very loud.
Seems, yeah,
and it's very rare. I rarely see it, but I've seen how many people actively see this.
Yeah.
And I never want to highlight it. I never want to bring attention to it. It's why I never retweet this. I don't like it when people retweet because it just gives validation, or it gives it credit.
Yeah.
Is when you retweet something that someone says as racist or as this, and I'm like, no, ignore it. Because us getting upset and retweeting it is just giving it more likes, more views, more this or that. And we got to recognize the algorithm doesn't care about any of this stuff. Its job is to say, oh, a lot of people are retweeting this. Let's share it even more. Yeah. And we can't do that. We have to say, this is wrong, and either DM that person or talk to that person and say, hey, listen, this is what I think about your video. This is why I think it's wrong. Not like it, not share it, not retweet it, not anything like that. Because we can't give it validation. We can't let it see the light of day. We have to say, this is racist. We have to let that person know why this is racist, and and this is just how I've been dealing with it. And we have to, if all else fails, just unfollow and just be like, listen, I can't. I'm sorry,
Lost cause. Yeah.
lost cause. Um, but like I want to know like how you have been dealing with it, because it's mind boggling to me to see a black woman or a black man or a black person or like within my own family. My aunt, even though she's
Yeah.
born in Venice, Italy, and she came here, she's darker than me. She is probably, her and my grandmother are probably the darkest people. They're borderline black. They're like really dark Mexican, is what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say. And yet they are Trump. Like my grandma isn't, but my aunt is a Trump supporter, and is extremely race. My whole family can be very racist, but her specifically, she is like a big Trump lover, and like he can do no wrong. And my mother is the same way, where they try to always say, "Well, I don't like the hate that's going on. I'm all about love." And it's but here's the problem, is it's both about hate, but it's not about hate. And I always have to explain this, but it's about hate as in Trump and his goons are hating on a minority, on people, and they are actively taking charge to shoot. And like, it's not hate, it's anger. It's hate on the side that you say preaches love. It is anger on the side that is trying to preach love, and yet you are saying their words are hateful. They are not hateful. They are frustrated and angry. There is a difference. And
Yeah, that's
some
exactly
of,
right.
even if it is hate, some of them have a justified hate. When your whole entire life is oppression, and your whole entire life is people being killed around you, and your life could be on the chopping block at any second just for existing, I don't think you have a right to say this is a hateful movement. I don't think you have the right to say that I am about love and therefore I cannot support a movement that acts upon hate. Because it's not acting upon hate. It's acting upon years of oppression. It's acting on years of anger. It's acting on years of frustration.
It's true, man, and it's wild that some of the members of the minority communities are on the side of Trump, and that's how you can tell. In the end, it might not be 100%. I mean, it is about race. It's about putting indigenous, black and indigenous people of color down, but it's also kind of like the few of the black and indigenous people of color, like Hispanics, Latinos, black people, Asians, whoever can get into this club of, really rich white people or really wealthy right wing people. You can get in this club, but you have to hate the people we hate.
Yeah,
And if
it's it's
you
it's
have,
the Gestapo all over
yeah,
again.
it's
It's
like you have to be
it's
in the
the
club.
it's the people from India who joined the English police and beat their other Indian brothers because
Yes,
they didn't get treated as badly as other people. It's a mind tactic. It's Uncle Tomism.
yes,
It's
totally.
it's other black slaves who would beat up on black slaves because their white masters would say, "Hey, I'm not gonna, like, if you beat these people, whatever, I'll feed you better meals. You'll get to live in a house. You still won't be free, but you." And that's the thing. But it's so ingrained now, where it's like it's not even that. It's like I've adopted this religion, this belief, to believe that my skin color, that my existence is evil, that I have adopted. I'd rather be white, and I'm so open to being white that even though I am black, even though I'm Mexican, even though I'm this or that, that I am going to say, I'm going to vilify my own race, my own people that are being suppressed and shot, and I'm going to ignore all the violence that's happening on this side and say I am an arbiter of love. And this is not like, no, if you're an arbiter of love, then you should be outraged by the injustice and the hate that is happening on the side that you claim is love.
Exactly.
It's
Facts.
just it's mind fucks, man. It's mind fucks on all ends.
I read an article about how it's a different kind of mentality when you are um, able to feel for someone, I think that's called sympathy, right?
Yeah.
So you're like, oh man, I feel for you. That sucks how these people are getting beat up. Ah, and you stand by and do nothing. Now
Yeah.
that means you are sympathetic and you can understand, but you choose to do nothing. However, there's a different kind of person. So everybody's either sympathetic or sensitive. And so if you're sensitive,
Empathetic.
you would never hurt anybody. You understand and you're going to stand up and say, no, that's wrong.
That's what's called
And
empathy. Empathy is so sympathy is understanding what someone is saying but not feeling their blight.
yes,
It's under like so you're sympathetic towards the situation, but it has nothing to do with you.
yep,
Empathetic means I know exactly what you're saying and what's going on, and I feel that in its entirety, and therefore I will take action to do something.
yes,
And it's insane. Like one of the craziest things is like a lot of people are sharing this and saying, well, it's police officers, da 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 da. I like it bogs my mind, but I met one person when I worked at a bar. There's a person that would come into my bar,
yeah,
and he was black. He was a retired police officer, and he would come in and he would talk. Now this was in the east side. This is like Windcrest area. You know what I'm
yeah,
talking about, right?
yeah. I
Okay,
remember.
ghetto, like real ghetto, like not California ghetto, like straight up broken houses, like dingy places, and like shooting and police ride, like driving up and down, and homeless people everywhere. No joke.
Facts. Yep, I remember. Oof.
Um, and um, like he was a police officer, and he would constantly say the most racist things.
Really?
But he's
Wow.
black. He can't be racist. But he will say, "Man, these racial term or these black people are all gangsters and thugs, and they should all die. These
Oof.
people are all nothing but looters, thieves, and murderers, and I should kick them out of my bar. These people need to stop being here because as a police officer, I feel like they're like, white people are better. Blatant out would just be like white people are better. And yet he's a black police officer. The indoctrination of becoming a
Yeah.
police officer, to have that mentality and that mindset to hate your own race and stuff like that, is insane. And I know this person. He's not a friend. He's not a person. He's just a person that would come into the bar regularly, and I would serve him, and I'd have genuine conversations about like, well, why do you feel that? Because I would try to like talk to him and be like, listen, like, this is not right. And he was not just a police officer; he was a gay black police officer, and he
Well, I
was a
didn't see
little.
that coming.
He tried to get a little handsy. I'm not gonna lie, but it was just like, it was one of those things where it's like the amount of layers of the people you don't want to know that you're here, the amount, like the mental gymnastics that you're doing to say the things that you say, and the actions that you're doing going against the things that you say, is mind-boggling. And I want to know how you would handle a situation or how you would talk to it, because for me, it's I treat it no differently. I will still say the same rhetoric that I'll say to my mother, that I'll say to my aunt, that I'll say to anyone trying to discredit, be racist, or be uh, try to justify the injustice or the racial discrimination that's going on. I will talk to them all the same way. Because to me, there is no difference. To me, again, this is a systematic issue. Yeah, this is a racial issue, and it's primarily targeted towards a specific racial minority group. But this is a systematic, because the system was built to oppress this group. Just because a
Yeah, I
few
mean
people
it's
got
it's
out
in
of the
history.
system doesn't mean the system has gotten better. It just means they were able to work around a system that is fundamentally broken. Or is working the way it should, but is fundamentally evil.
It's hard to change some people's indoctrination, especially when they've been conditioned for so many years. Kind of whipped and beat and whipped and beat, and every time you have the righteous thoughts, you get a whip or a back of the hand, mentally or so to speak, and you kind of get conditioned. You know what I mean? It's fucked up, man. But
But
I'm
my
sure it
question is
happens to
how do you
police
go
officers.
against it? How do you say it when you have people who are saying, like, because I feel it, and I don't think you should ever tell a person how to protest, how to fight racial injustice, but at a certain point, how do you how do you have that conversation?
This is a good one, man. This is a good one. This is something that I've actually been wanting to brainstorm about with somebody too. So I'm
Because
glad we're
it
talking
is
about it.
fundamentally hard to just say, well, I guess I shouldn't tell you how to protest because you're black, and I guess you are right. It's like, no, that is wrong. It is you are saying this, and you are actively going against a movement that is trying to end oppression and racism, and to cut like it's a weird place to tremble because you can't be like the color of your skin does not matter in a racial discussion about where the matter is about your color of your skin. So the mental gymnastics is you have to go around the systemic route. You have to go around saying this is a systematic issue that has oppressed a certain minority, and just because you are a minority that hasn't been affected or does not believe in these things doesn't mean that they are not happening. And it's weird to fight to have those two things at odds.
Yeah, I think that's the next step we all have to kind of think about and take, because it's almost like it should just, like you said, it should be kind of systematic oppression versus not oppression, as opposed to a race thing, because you can't tell some people, like you said, just like you said. So I think that's their next step is going to try to figure that out,
Yeah.
band everybody together. If it's something that everybody at least ideologically can unite behind, like love or something like that, or
But I
just
think
being a
that's
decent
too
human
much of a
being.
general sweeping statement and is
Yeah,
too
no,
easily
you're right.
manipulated.
You're right too.
I
That's
feel
true.
like personally it has to be like multiple. You have to tackle the injustice in a common thread but with
Oh,
multiple facets to them. Like
I had an idea of like a general of gay rights, a general of Black Lives Matter, a general of maybe Hispanic and Latino group, like and then all of us kind of get together. That would be an idea,
well
something like that.
the idea
Um,
is just for me it's like it is Black Lives Matter.
right.
Like it is they are the racial group that like I mean yes Native Americans and Mexicans and all that stuff too, and but
And
like
gay rights. Don't forget gay
and
rights.
gay rights and trans rights and all that stuff.
Yes.
It is all of that as a collective, but it's also at the same time we have to for those people who are African American, Black, Mexican, Asian who are saying this is not their issue, or who are saying that Trump is their savior, or who are saying that white people are in the right and black people are the evil in this world.
Oof.
We have
Yeah.
to look at them and say, you are wrong. I get and I recognize the color of your skin and I recognize where you're coming from. But if you are willing to discredit and disfranchise your own brothers and sisters, you have to understand that this is a systemic issue, and here are the things why. And that's how I think it should be approached. How are you doing,
Totally.
Flaming? It's going. We're talking heavy subjects today. Tomorrow I'm doing drag, so tomorrow will be a lot more fun stream. But I hope you stick around, you listen, you click on some of the links that are being posted because they are important. The petitions take literally no longer than 15 seconds. Um, please, we can't ignore this anymore. And I think it is not trying to say it is this or that or trying to neglect Black Lives Matter into something more generalized as systemic oppression, but I think they go in hand with one another. I think it is systemic oppression and other lives being killed, but I think it's primarily black lives that are being affected by this. I also think that Mexican and Indian and foreign lives and Native American lives and other lives that are not white are being affected by this. And yes, we should bring up those issues as well, but we have
Right
to
now,
bring up
one
those
fight at a
issues when those
time.
issues
Yeah.
arise. Because
Exactly.
anything else is just a distraction or a deterrent from the real issue that's going on.
True.
All right, man. It's been a little over 2 hours now. It's been about 3 hours. I am going to say Do you have any last words or anything that you feel like we haven't touched that we can talk about?
Power to the people. That's about
Power
it.
to the people. Power to
Thanks
the
for having me on, man.
protesters.
I appreciate that. Thanks for having me on and asking me these questions. It was nice. Good
Yes,
time.
I mean, I figured it's one thing to just ask someone who has been, like I wanted to get multiple sides when I did this interview. So, sadly, some of my friends are out protesting and couldn't make it.
Oh, that's
Sadly,
cool.
some of them had technical issues, so they couldn't be on. But I'm thankful for both uh, Jenna Black, Jenna Banks, and Joshua Heartstone to be on here. Because you want the full gross of the perspective. You want the perspective of someone who is actually on the front lines, protesting, actively fighting, and as an active activist who apparently has. I didn't know this, but you've been doing this since 2012, as you said earlier.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. It's been a while. You guys, you've seen my video where I got arrested and the cops kettled us.
yeah,
It's online if you guys want to check it out. For
yeah,
sure. I'm at Josh in the Heart on Twitter, and it's all up there.
yeah.
But yeah, man. Thanks again for having me on, dude. I really appreciate it. Hopefully, I get to talk to you soon.
Yeah, talk to me anytime, man. Anytime at all.
Cool.
I wanna make this like a weekly or at least a monthly thing, where I talk to people. We actively do a charity. Maybe it won't be as serious as this. Maybe it will be. I want to have other people on where we talk with like professionals, but we also talk with people who again are on the front lines, like Joshua here, who is actively out there, who actually can say, this is my experience, this is what I have seen, and this is what's actually going down. Not what the media is trying to portray, not what other people are trying to say is going down who are actually at home just watching the videos and on the news, but actively saying, hey, this is what we're going through, this is what's happening from the primary source of what's going on. And then and then I'm also glad that I actually got to share some of my stories that I don't really talk about. I don't really get to voice out a little bit much. That like of everything that has been going down, and my friend's stories, like Janelle, um, where she got to explain her stories and what it was like growing up black and what it was like growing up in a segregated community. Um, these are important things to hear. These are important stories, but I also want to reiterate it's not about us. It's not just about our stories. It's about all the people who have died. It's about systematic oppression. It's about the fact that we need to make change. We just want to be one small voice in a collective voice that is screaming, please, 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 let's make some change. Please let us live. Just please listen. So, yeah.
Amen, Justice.
Thank you guys. Thank you, Joshua, for being on. Thank you, Miss
Thank you
Janelle,
for doing
for.
what you
Yeah, sorry. I keep talking over you.
do. No, I said thank you, man. Thanks for doing what you do. I'm
Yeah.
out.
Thank you, Janelle Banks, for freaking talking with us. Um, and y'all have a good day. Stay informed. Stay educated. Donate if you can. If you can't, sign the petitions. There's a YouTube video going around that all the ad revenue is going to Black Lives Matter. I'll talk to you guys next time. And with that, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.